Hey everybody, today in this video we are going to go over the Elementor loop grid. This is one of my favorite widgets that Elementor offers. I use it all the time, and in this video we're going to use the loop grid widget and we're going to be connecting it to the post types in your WordPress website. Most of the time I use another feature or another plugin called ACF, and I'm going to make another video explaining how to do this with ACF. With loop grids, I do want to say there's a million different things that you can do with loop grids. So in this video, we're just going to cover a high level overview of the basics on how to use loop grid, how to edit it, and how to connect it to your post types. So if you're working on something that's a little bit more advanced or a little bit more complicated, please drop it in the comments below, and I would love to talk more about that. But as far as the high level overview goes, let's jump right in. Okay, so what we're going to do, I have something set up here just in this example site. We're going to set up a skateboard shop. Again, this is pretty straightforward as far as like design goes. We're not going to go too far into listing out all the details and all that other stuff because the principles that I'm going to show you here will work for all of that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and it is saying to, it's giving us these options to create a container, use a template, Elementor AI, or drag a widget there. What we need to do is we're going to go ahead and open up a container, and we do have to use a Flexbox for the loop grid to work. Again, we need to use a Flexbox for loop grid to work. If you're not seeing this, or it seems a little funky, or it's not working, what you can do is jump over to your WordPress backend, go to Elementor, settings, features, and then I think it's container. Yeah, this here. We need to make sure that that is active. So what we can do then is jump back over to our site, and we're going to go ahead and hit Flexbox. We'll do a single container. And what I'm going to do is just copy this title real quick, drop it down here just for the sake of time. And now we get into the main part, and that's the loop grid. So what we're going to do is type in loop grid, find it in your widget panel. Here it is. I want to take a side note that all of the stuff I show you in the loop grid also works for the loop carousel. So if you're looking to make a carousel for whatever storefront or whatever it is that you're trying to create, loop carousel works exactly the same as loop grid. But we're not going to go over this today. We're just going to go to the loop grid. So we're going to grab this and drop it onto our page. And now if you've never used loop grid before, this can look a little daunting or a little intimidating, but I promise if you spend a little bit of time with this, you're going to get it. I know when I first started, it was a little frustrating and a little bumpy, but I promise if you stick with it, you're going to get it. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit create a template. I want to say there's lots of different ways that you can access this template and make edits to it, but we're not going to worry about that in this video. We're just going to build it on the page here for simplicity's sake. Down the road, we can look at other ways to access the template. For now, we're going to create a template. Yes, we'll save the changes that we made. And then what we'll do is we're going to see this display show up now. A couple things I want you to notice now. All of our structure panel over here, normally it's like a bunch of containers and widgets and all sorts of stuff in here. Notice that's gone. It's empty now. And our little friend that was in this display here is now over here. So what that means is we're creating a new container here. And so what we're going to do is, as I continue here, I think you'll start seeing the idea. We'll add a new one. Again, Flexbox. We'll just do a single container. Why not? So now we have a container with nothing in it. So generally a quick and kind of easy way that I do this sometimes. I know everybody does it different ways, but just for the sake of example here, again, I want to remind you, there's a million different ways there's a million different things that you can do with loop grid. So this is just one of them, but I want to get the principles of the widget across. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to style. We're going to go to, I'm going to add a background in this container. One thing I want to let you know is don't add content over here in the edit panel in layout, style, or advanced. For example, if I put an image in this image, in this choose image area, that exact image is going to show up on every single card. So what we need to do is we need to pull from our posts. So we're going to use dynamic tags. And a side note here, I do believe you need Elementor Pro to have dynamic tags. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure you need Pro. So we'll go ahead and click dynamic tags, and then we're going to click featured image, and voila, we now have a box, or I'm sorry, colored in the box. So what's going to happen is this is just a zoomed in version, I think, of this picture. It doesn't really matter. So what we'll do is we'll get that set right. This is just some settings that I generally use. Again, you can do whatever works for your specific needs that you're doing. So we see he's a little bit closer. Let's make it, I think 300 is a pretty good height. There he is. All right, so now we have that. We're going to go ahead and publish. There we go. Next, and I'm going to show you where these images are coming from here in a second. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a heading widget, drop it in here. And again, we don't want to type anything in here because if we do, it's going to show it across all these cards. It'll all be the same thing, and we don't want that. So we're going to come back to here and use the dynamic tags. And then we're going to go to post title. And there we go. There it is. And what we'll do quick here is center that, use this container, and then we're going to center the content there. And just like that, we have the post title in there. And something else that I want us to do before we jump out of here is we're going to go to the heading. And let's say we want to link this to a page. So you have a skateboard listed and the user clicks it and you want them to go to a page specifically for that skateboard. What we're going to have to do is we're going to come over to content. We're going to come to link. Again, dynamic tags. If you drop a link in there, like if you put google.com in there, every single card will go to google.com. So we need to use these dynamic tags. And then we're going to go to post URL. Okay, so there we have it. And so if you want to style it a little bit more like this and, kind of put some hover effects and so on top of the heading, feel free to do so. Or if you want to make the background different, one thing I probably will do is I will change the color here to this accent just so we can kind of see it. And we'll go ahead and publish it. And then what we need to do is we're going to hit save and back. All right, and there we go. You see how it populated all of them? And so just a little bit of like what's happening here? What's going on is we just connected these containers to the posts in our WordPress backend. So I want you to kind of take a mental note of these photos and the names of these skateboards. We're going to jump back over to our WordPress admin panel. And then I'm going to go up here and go to posts. And I had posts pre-made before this video, so you'll need to make your posts. But notice we have Grind Theory, Phantom Push, and Splinter Syndicate. And if we jump back over here, there those titles are. If we go back into our WordPress admin panel, we click on any one of these. And I want to show you that the featured image is over here. So all of these posts, those images and these titles are getting pulled over into this loop grid. So that is a really basic overview of how loop grids work. You could have 100 posts if you wanted to. And then if you want to edit the actual loop grid here, so we have the loop grid, you can, how many columns do you want? You can do like 2, 1, whatever you want. 3 works pretty good. You can pick, if you did have like 100 or something like that, you could, cap it at 6 on the page and then do like a see more button. And then it takes you to more of those. So what I want to do now is we're going to go ahead and publish this. And then if we preview it, we have this page. This is the one I already had built. But let's say a user's coming down here and they're like, oh, this grind theory is cool. And they click on that. Oops. It's going to take them to the actual page. And so they can go here. And then this is where you could put like buy now and put a bunch of different photos and details and so on. So I hope this video was helpful for you. That is a brief overview of the Elementor loop grid. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions or are struggling using the widget, please post them in the comments. I would love to help. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.